Someone else's salary who we all paid for is Janet Yellen at the U.S. Treasury, who just admitted yesterday that she believes she was wrong last year on the path of U.S. inflation. It kind of makes sense that she was wrong. Justin, what's your take on her finally admitting that she messed up on this?
Yeah, so what happened back in 2020 and through 21 is, and I would say both administrations are to blame here, it's we thought that this pandemic everyone was going to die and it was like going to be really, really tough and everything was going to shut down and the economy was going to shut down in more ways than it actually did. So therefore, we reacted as if the government should pay everyone so that we're all, like, people are okay. So we printed all this money, not only the Fed, but this is something that I've been trying to bring to the conversation, is like the Treasury printed a bunch of money. We gave everybody stimulus checks. Household net worth, household savings went through the roof. Savings rate through the pandemic was over 30% of people's paychecks were being saved. In reality, yes, like a lot of people suffered. A lot of people are still suffering, especially the hospitality industry. A lot of people lost their jobs as waitresses, as cooks, as stuff like that. Airlines needed to get bailed out. That's a whole other thing. Airlines getting bailed out. But like, we also did massive PPP loans, and maybe that helped the local restaurant. That's great. But there is massive fraud with PPP loans. Like, I know of a lot of small businesses that weren't ever going to shut down that just took a bunch of PPP loans. And like the airlines took a bunch of money and then laid people off when the whole part of the deal was not to lay people off. So yes, they messed up. They gave a bunch of free money, and now we have 11.5 million jobs out like that we need to fill. The labor force participation rate is at historic lows. People aren't working. We lost 1.5 million workers through the pandemic. And like, now we have this structural inflation on the supply side. So yeah, she was absolutely wrong.
Tom, was it good for her to admit it, or did it kind of seem like it's a boneheaded thing to come out and say I was wrong when we all knew she was wrong?
We've been talking about her being wrong and Jerome Powell being wrong for 2 years. I mean, you've been stalking my YouTube channel for 2 years. You know how many times I said it's not transitory whenever they claim the shit. How many times I made? At least 20 times I made videos about this, explaining why this could not be transitory. You cannot give people free money and expect not to have inflationary backlash. Now, what I want to talk about is not her admitting the mistake because she's being Captain Obvious. Everybody knows Janet Yellen admitting her mistake is like me saying, oh, I got the entry price of Palantir wrong. Everybody knows that. There's not a lot of secret there. So what I think is despicable is her apology. If you read through the actual article, she's not apologizing. She's saying, I got it wrong because I couldn't foresee the war in Ukraine, the China lockdowns, the new variants. It all surprised us, and that's why inflation was not transitory. She's not saying I got it wrong because we printed too much money. She's saying, well, a lot of things happened that made inflation worse.
Just to confirm your point, she says there have been unanticipated and large shocks to the economy that have boosted energy and food prices and supply bottlenecks that have affected our economy badly that at the time I didn't fully understand, which makes sense because at the time those things weren't happening. So there's no way
it exacerbated the bottlenecks by giving people money because, I mean, like, we need to figure out, I mean, she went on CNBC today, I think, or yesterday, and, now we have a longshoreman potential
I want you guys
strike.
to see this, by the way. This is from Market Sentiment on Substack. This is what happens. This is what happens when you give people free money.
A rock costs $2 million?
Yes, an rock costs like a mansion in Florida. 2.2 million.